Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh. Today we're going to do a quick review of Priscilla. This is a new film that is released. It's a biographical drama about Priscilla Presley, who is still alive, but she wrote a memoir, I believe, and this is an adaptation of that. She is an executive producer on this movie, so I have no reason to believe that it fabricates a lot of her story. Also, this is directed by Sofia Coppola, who is the daughter of iconic filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola. Before we talk about this movie, I will be honest and say that I'm not a massive fan of Sofia's filmography. I don't know, I don't dislike her movies, but I watched Lost in Translation about a year ago and thought it was just okay. It wasn't great, didn't blow me away, but she knows what she's doing behind the camera, and this is no exception to that, that's for sure. The cinematography in this is the first thing I'm going to talk about, and it is really good looking at times. As a period piece, I think it's really effective as far as the set designs go, the costuming, the colors. I've only seen about 3 or 4 of Sofia's films so far, but I think this is the best looking of them. And quite frankly, the story here is actually pretty dang simple. It doesn't have a huge conflict at the center of it that necessarily hooks you right off the bat. Instead, it's really just an account of these two people and their relationship from start to finish. We see the good, we see the bad, and we see the ugly. And I'm one of the people who really enjoyed the Elvis film that came out last year with Austin Butler and Tom Hanks. But this is a very different version of the story between these two characters. That film largely left Priscilla out of the story. This one puts her front and center, although you do see a lot of Elvis too. But yeah, this film does not exactly paint him in the most positive light. And that was a really bold choice by Sofia Coppola. I think it would have been easy to sugarcoat some of the things that are being adapted from this memoir, in doing so pleasing the people that want to go and see a really lighthearted, positive Elvis movie. But I think this is an important reminder that while we can absolutely acknowledge the great achievements and the artwork that has been created by pop culture icons such as Elvis Presley, we can still acknowledge that they are flawed, and some of them aren't the greatest people behind closed doors. I think both stories can exist simultaneously, and you can enjoy both of them and not really pick sides in some sort of culture war over this. Because when this film starts, I believe it's in 1959, when he first meets Priscilla, she's a 9th grader. And right off the bat, I'm just like, ooh, yeah, that's a little creepy. And going into this, I actually knew very little, in fact, next to nothing about Priscilla or her relationship with Elvis or how this film was going to interpret their relationship and portray it. So for a while, I wasn't really sure what the direction of this was going to be. Was it going to try to glorify their relationship and the way it starts? Or was it going to completely condemn it? And I don't even think it really does that. There are some positive things in here that certainly portray the happiness, or at least what Priscilla perceives as happiness, although I feel like it's not completely genuine because she was sort of groomed into this relationship that really started out as just a crush. She had a crush on a famous person, as a lot of people do, and it turned into something more. And a lot of what works about Priscilla's character arc in this comes down to Cailee Spaeny, who is absolutely fantastic in this. Definitely one of my favorite performances of the year. And one thing that I specifically want to praise about this performance is that it is nuanced. There isn't a lot of high octane dialogue in this. It's very subdued, it's very quiet. A lot of the scenes, you're reading her facial expressions more so than listening to what she's saying. And it takes a great actor to pull that off. I think there's always a temptation when people make films like this to over-dramatize some of the scenes. You know, every movie that you watch and you're going into it thinking it's going to be Oscar bait, you expect that one scene where characters reach their breaking point and have this really over-the-top argument with a lot of screaming, and just, you can tell they're trying so hard for those awards that it feels a little extra. And not that there aren't heated scenes in the movie, but I feel like this was very subdued, and it benefits from that heavily. Jacob Elordi was really good as Elvis as well. I'm not going to say he was as good as Austin Butler, but that's a pretty high bar to reach. But ultimately, I think this was just a really nice, short and sweet, I shouldn't say short, it was an hour and 50 minutes, but it didn't feel longer than that. It was effective in the point that it was trying to get across, and it absolutely made me feel for this person, thanks to the great performance. The soundtrack is really good. All of the technical elements come together nicely. For me, Priscilla is just an easy recommendation. I didn't love it. I'm probably not going to rewatch it, but I would definitely recommend it for someone who wants to go see something that isn't a Marvel movie or doesn't have a ton of action in it. It's just a really solid, straightforward drama that maybe tells the side of a story that you don't hear that often. So I'm gonna give Priscilla 3.5 out of 5 stars. Like a lot of Sofia Coppola's movies, I think it's good. It's just not as extraordinary as some people tell me it is. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know all of the ways this could have been improved, because again, if you're gonna stick to the authentic, true story, you're kind of limited by that story. If you can't take a lot of creative liberties, then it is going to fall into that biopic formula that people are coming to expect in a fairly predictable manner. But it was effective, I was entertained by it, and I want to see more of Cailee Spaeny because I know that she can deliver a lot more great performances just like this one. Do be sure to let me know in the comments, guys, what did you think of this movie? Did it live up to your expectations? And which do you prefer, this or last year's Elvis? As always, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.